Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Ghosts and Spirits Special Edition video. Well, this involves yet another ghost hunt that I did this past week, and I teased it a little bit during one of my last videos. It had to do with a trip I took to Tyler, Texas, where it was both a Comic-Con trip and then also a ghost hunt trip there at the nighttime. So I love it when I'm able to incorporate those two things, a Comic-Con and a ghost hunt, all at the same time. But yes, it was just this past weekend. I took a good number of pictures, and then now I get to showcase this info here for you. So let's go ahead and then start, in this case, the special edition with the location that I visited. In this case, it was called Camp Ford, and then there was also some other mini locations throughout there in Tyler, Texas. By the way, before we do so, just wanted to give a quick shout out to this group here, the Paranormal Junkies. They're a local group there in Tyler, Texas that were able to host this tour. In particular, the girl on the bottom right, her name is Juanita. Herself and her mom, Rosemary, were so kind. They were the ones there that were hosting the tour for me, and they were able to take me there to the Camp Ford location, and then also those other places that I'll just showcase here in a minute. But yes, they were so wonderful. They gave me a lot of good history of those locations, lots of good information. We spent several hours, in fact, on the ghost tour. It wouldn't have been as excellent as it was without this group here. So Juanita, thank you again there at the Paranormal Junkies, much appreciated. And if you have a chance, if you go there to Tyler, Texas, highly recommend, if you can find their tour, to be able to do so. I think they do these for the Comic-Cons, but I think they also do those on an individual basis too. So again, highly recommend it. But yes, let's go ahead. Let's talk about the tour here. So this place that you're looking at now is indeed Camp Ford. It's a very eerie looking place, even more so at night. This is the entrance, if you call it that, to that location. Camp Ford was one of the oldest and largest prisoner of war camps during the American Civil War, particularly on the south side. They housed a lot of people there. In fact, at their peak, it was something like over 5,000 prisoners all at once. And crazy, because when you go there, you'll realize it's big, but it's small at the same time. It's not something you could imagine, thousands of prisoners there all under one place. And the history associated with it is not all good. Everybody crammed in all together. Eventually there were fights that were happening. There was a little bit, I guess you'd call it mutiny, in a sense, of the prisoners trying to take over the camp. A lot of deaths that resulted from it. Also with regards to sickness, illnesses, diseases, whenever those came across the camp, you better believe if one prisoner caught it, it just spread like wildfire and led to more deaths. Overall, there were a couple of hundred, a little over 300 deaths that occurred during that time period, and the way the story goes, that's why this place is extremely haunted because of it, because a lot of these prisoners had a bad time there and they ended up dying from that bad experience. I myself, when I went there, I'll share here in a minute the experiences that I heard. This is the first time I actually heard some ghosts there at that location. Never heard one before, but I was able to hear one, and I was able to see something that just blew my mind away. So keep a watch out here in a minute. But yes, you'll see some of these pics. They showcase the information of the prison, some of the details of it. They have them there plastered. They have also the entrance, if you call it that, which is just basically walking towards a dirt pathway, which will eventually lead you to these areas. You're looking at them now. These are the essential, I guess you could call them little mini tents that were there within the prison. They'll give you an idea of how big, if you call it that, their cells were. These were the cells themselves. This was what essentially they had to keep them away from the weather, the hot weather, the cold weather, and they were crammed around 10 to 15 per tent. So imagine that. Imagine these things scattered throughout the entire prison, and then you're housed with about 10 people at least within this tiny cabin. You could totally see how things could get quickly out of hand for this location. And there are rumors of in this case, some of the people that ran the prison, some of the soldiers, some of the commanders there that were also in a bad light, like they were in a bad mood and they would take it out on the prisoners. But yes, that's it, all you mix all that, and then essentially that's why you get this very, very haunted Camp Ford. We went there at night. I was able to go there at 10 p.m. That's when the tour started, and then we pretty much went beyond that. The trail itself leads to this. You're gonna see a bunch of pictures of the forest itself, because that's pretty much all that remains of the Camp Ford. A lot of it, in fact, was trailblazed over. A lot of the little cabins removed, and then across the other side of the street, there's a gas station now. There's a bunch of homes, small businesses, but this main bulk of the forest is what used to house this camp. And so that's why we went along this pathway, which led us to this. You're looking at it now. This is the infamous tree. This is the hanging tree. This was the tree that was used to hang most of the prisoners whenever they were accused of something, either within the camp itself, or if they were found guilty beforehand, taken to the camp and then executed afterward. And so this tree has a lot of paranormal activity. We took out a not an EMF reader, but a K2 meter. And then in there, immediately, it started lighting up all the way to the right. I have never seen that before. I've gone on several ghost tours in the past, but when Juanita took this one out, she brought it out, and then we started asking whoever was there any questions. Immediately, it trailblazed all the way to the red. Never seen that. I've seen it blip on some of the other tours, maybe to the yellow, in other words, from green to yellow, but in this case, it stayed in red, almost angrily red, like it was going back and forth to the red mark. And then Juanita would ask it. It would say, "Do you like us being here?" And of course, it would blaze all the way to red, indicating no. And then it was, "Did you want us to get us out of here?" And then it would say yes. Like it would blaze all the way to the red there too. By the way, if you go to the Camp Ford, if you go there, this is probably the farthest part you can get to safely, like in quotations, because anything past that, you're on your own when it comes to the danger level of whatever is here. Juanito was mentioning that there is something here that has attacked other people in the past, like some kind of entity, some paranormal item. Don't know what it is, they don't know the history of it, but Tours of Tyler hosts a lot of these tours, and they go here as well with other groups. There is something here that is beyond this tree, and you're looking at where I'm taking pictures of it, like towards beyond it, and if you go past that point, that's where this thing, whatever it is not very happy. I even saw it here, and I'll explain that just one more minute. But yes, this thing, whatever it is, now houses itself there. It can make itself known as a form in terms of a shadow person, multiple shadow persons, or through sounds, or more of a visual standpoint as well. So when we went to this tree, and immediately the K2 meter was pinging because of this thing's presence, that's as far as we got. I wanted to go a little further. I wanted to see just how far I could go towards the deep end, towards the very back part of the forest. But again, something was telling me, no, probably better not. This is one of those things where maybe I'm going to take this guidance from Juanita and then her mom, who have been here before, who have done other investigations, have seen bad things happen to others, and realized that maybe we should, when they said we should go back to the other parts of the forest, that's what we should do. But yes, keep that in mind if you ever visit this Camp Ford and you get to the hanging tree. If you want to go beyond it, be sure to be very, very careful with regards to that. But yes, so we immediately went backwards, and then we went to another area where they have a little hill, and it's known as, I'm trying to remember it now, I think it's called the Woman's Hill, something along those lines. And the reason for it is because this prison location also housed, I guess you'd call it nurses or something else. Some women actually lived in that location, and I don't know if it was even after, maybe in this case, that the prison was taken down. But either way, though, it's been known that if you go towards this hill, you can hear a woman, and the woman will only appear apparently talk to men. She'll make her presence known to men. Like, she'll make audible noises, but only men's ears can pick it up. So I went to that hill, since I was the only man of the group, to try to see if anything could be picked up. But no, I did not pick up anything there. But I just still took a bunch of pictures. Juanita, though, was stating that she did see some stuff along the way while I was taking pictures. Like, she would see shadow figures scurry about, in this case towards the background of the forest from tree to tree. She even saw one kind of peer over and then peer back. I wasn't able to catch anything myself for it, but I did see this. Unfortunately, it did not show up in any of the pictures, and blasted, I was so hoping. But if you take a look at this picture here, this is essentially what was the area that we were pointing towards. So in that same area of the woman's hill, towards the background, there was something there, two red eyes that were staring back at us, and this was unmistakable. Like, I saw these eyes in a way, like, not directly, but if you just change your focus like an inch towards the left or the right, then you could see those eyes. I saw them, Juanita saw them, Rosemary saw them, and they were unmistakable. Sure enough, there were two red eyes that were staring back at us. It was so creepy to see that. And these eyes were not at human level. Like, they were not, in this case, at the height that you would expect a man or a woman's eyes to be. No, they were closer to the ground. Immediately I was thinking, is it an animal? Because of course this is somewhat of a forest. There could be animals out here. I didn't hear any animals while we were out there, but there's still that possibility. You're looking at more pictures, in fact, of around that area that I was taking. But yes, no, when it came to this, I was trying to think, is it an animal? But as I was taking these multiple pictures, the ones you're looking at now, these flashes from the ones from my camera are pretty strong. So if something was there, most animals would then scurry about. It's just natural. They see a bright flash, they'd much rather flight than fight, and in that case they would run about. But these eyes stood still. They just continued to just stare at me. It was very creepy looking at these eyes. They weren't moving too, like they weren't swaying back and forth, they weren't moving forwards and then backwards. No, they were just simply there, close to the ground, hovering just a little bit above it. I would say maybe about 1 to 2 feet above the ground, and as they peered at us. That was the first time I saw them. Then we went to this other area that you're looking at here. This area is about halfway towards the hanging tree and then back, and then because there was a bridge that's there that purportedly houses a soldier that walks back and forth on the bridge. So we stood there for about maybe 15 minutes waiting to see if maybe we could catch this soldier, but we didn't catch the soldier, but we saw those eyes again, and then blasted again. The eyes were so far back, it was a good distance away in both situations that they don't show up on my camera, but I did see it from this angle there. So yes, indeed, these eyes were back at a different location, staring at us yet again, and then also not moving anywhere. It was just basically staring at us. It was creepy. This is the first time I've ever seen two red eyes staring at us. The last time I saw two red eyes was at the Magnolia Hotel a couple of weeks back. I didn't see them though at the time. I saw them in a picture afterward. Here was the opposite. Now I saw these red eyes, but they didn't show up in my pictures. But I definitely, absolutely saw them. 3 witnesses, myself, Juanita, and Rosemary, all seeing these red eyes. And the way Juanita was telling them the information on this, when you see these red eyes there at Camp Ford, this is almost like a final warning, because this thing, having previously made its presence known through the K2 meter, and also through something being thrown at us, it almost hit Juanita. We think it was like a piece of bark or some kind of pine cone, something that could have fallen, but at the same time we were a little bit a ways from the nearest tree. But yes, that was its second indication. But now in this case, it was the actual eyes itself. So quite creepy. You'll definitely get an experience if you go here. Not only that, but we also heard a woman's, a man's voice that was moaning. Imagine this. Like, imagine if someone was hurt and then they were screaming for several hours, and then eventually out of breath they were still moaning, but obviously like they were so tired of moaning but still doing it. Imagine that type of sound. That's what we all heard. We heard it several times. In fact, we heard some. It would definitely seem like it was a prisoner from some who knows how far back time period that was still there reliving his harrowing days. We heard that moan. We heard an old horn, one of those horns that you could imagine like in the old armies that are being blown. We heard that within the forest, and then also we heard some words being spoken. And remember, this is all us, like we were the only ones for a good while within the actual forest. We were the only ones. We heard something of a variation of some kind of like get out, something along those lines. So all that culminated along with the red eyes as the final warning, and then that's when we decided to leave at that point. So very, very good experience there, both visual and then auditory, and then some pictures, which check this out too. I caught some orbs, not just one orb, but multiple orbs as well, and within the same frames. Because a lot of times when I capture orbs, I come across them, maybe only one will show. But no, in this case, there was like in this right here, two orbs towards the right hand side of my camera, both of them right there, right smack there in front of the camera. I didn't see them in person, but they definitely showed up here afterward. And then check this out, not one, not two, not three, but four orbs within this location here too. How crazy is that? Something was absolutely in front of my camera trying to block it while I was taking these pictures, but I did not see them, but there they were. I count four orbs. If you count anything different, let me know. But yes, there was absolutely something there that was trying to prevent me from taking pictures, giving me a hint essentially to get out of that location. So we eventually left that Camp Ford. Then we took just a little mini trip to one more area. In this case, it was a location that now houses a a law firm. It used to be something else, though. It was actually a prison, if you could believe that. Yet another prison, older one, in fact. But we went to that location, and it now is a law firm. We went outside. We started exploring an area that houses first an isolation chamber. You're looking at it now. In fact, this isolation chamber was where people were stored, I guess, the baddest of the bad of those prisoners. And it was there that I was able to capture one more orb, in this case flying towards me. I saw it with my camera. It came and then it turned, it pivoted towards my left, and that's where you're able to see right here. So that was pretty cool to be able to run into that. And then towards the outside, we went towards the door. There's a legend there that if you go to the door and knock on it, and then you put your ear to the door, you're supposed to hear, even though it's empty inside, somebody come running towards the door as if they're, happily ready to go there and open it for you. But no, I did not. I did not hear anything. I know, and then you're also supposed to hear a reverse knock, like somebody knock back as well. But unfortunately, nothing was there that particular night. And then taking some of these pictures elsewhere outside, they're supposed to be the ghosts of a little girl, somebody that used to live at that location. I guess eventually it was made into a home before it was a law firm, and then a little girl lived there, and so she makes her presence known sometimes by the windows, by just staring back. But no, unfortunately, I did not catch anything there either. We also took some little mini trips, some more driving trips outside of some local cemeteries, and then also one of the houses there that has a warehouse area, I guess you could call it, something that's more haunted, but just from the outside that we could see. We couldn't go inside, but maybe those are future stops afterward, because Juanita was mentioning that they're trying to get access into those locations too, which will be very, very interesting. But yes, that's essentially my trip there to Tyler, Texas for the local ghost hunt. Very, very exciting. I loved it there. It was great. Got to experience these things for the first time. Red eyes, hearing ghosts as well. No, other than the orbs, no real other good proof, in other words, on a physical level. But yes, at least I got to experience it. It was erotic. It was one of those things like when you see Ghost Adventures, and they say, I hear something, or I feel something, but nothing really shows up on camera. Now I know how that feels whenever I was able to experience this stuff, but nothing that I can show as proof for it. By the way, if you're wondering why I didn't take any camera, like video footage, or also stream it, it's only because we try at that location at Kent Ford. The reception wasn't good, but also because in order to get the true best experience there, you had to go almost total darkness. You almost had to have everything shut off, except for, in this case, the camera itself, in order to experience what you saw. And it worked. Like, it truly brought out a lot of the best elements when you're not running around, in this case, with a video camera, or trying to, like, let's say, stream it live on YouTube or anything along those lines. But I'm very excited. I look forward to going back to that place next year for their next con. They'll probably have another ghost hunt there as well. And again, if you go there, I highly recommend check out the Paranormal Junkies. Good group there. Juanita, Rosemary, thank you so much again for that experience, and I look forward to going back again. So, all right, everybody. Thanks again as always. Take care.